Hi everyone, this is Tanya from Flying Dog Studio. Thank you so much for joining me as we start another piece, this one inspired by Beatrix Potter. And this is my own reference photo and my own art, so this will be available on my blog. And in this video, we are going to start the inking process. This is my Pilot Falcon, and that's the tip on there. That's an extra fine tip. It has a flexible nib, and if you want to know about any of the products that I am using, all of those will be listed in the description below. So what we're going to do after we ink it in the next video, part 2, we're going to be going back to the Caran Neocolor 2. These are the water-soluble colors from Caran, and that is how we are going to color this piece. And if you're unfamiliar with these, I'll link a video down below where you can see where I opened these and how they work, and that's what we're going to be using in the rest of this video. And we're going to be learning how to use those in layering, so it's not just straight coloring and activating with water. You're going to learn how to layer them in this particular series. The first thing, as you can tell, I did was draw this piece out, and as I said, I will have this drawing available on my blog, and my blog will be listed as Jonesboro Art School, I believe, or maybe it's JSA Flower Power. I can't remember the name of my blog, but whatever it is down there, it's going to be listed down below. It's not going to say Flying Dog Studio, but that's still me. I had a teaching studio for years. It was called Jonesboro School of Art, and this was our blog that we used to keep up with our progress on things and all of our projects that we were working on and class schedules. So I've just converted it into something that will help us out here, but that is us. So don't be afraid to follow that link. That is my blog. So everything is already pre-drawn out. And if you say, oh, I can't draw this, trace it. Don't worry about drawing it. That's why I'm going to have this drawing available for you. And if you have an iPad and you want to learn how to turn that into a Lightbox, I have a video for that as well, and I'll link that down below, and that will get you all set up. You could also print this off and put it under a grid if you like drawing with a grid, or you can just freehand it if you want to do that. I'm going to have the original photo that this was taken from also on my blog, and you'll be able to tell that I didn't do the entire piece. I just kind of focused in on a few pieces from that and pulled it out and just focused in on those areas. And if you've seen some of my pieces in the past, you're like, didn't we do this flower already? No, we probably did something similar, but these are the flowers from our garden. So I take pictures of them all summer at different angles. So if this project looks familiar, that may be why, but I have not used this particular reference before. Now, as we are inking this, something I want you to notice is that I am trying to do this like Beatrix Potter. That's why it is inspired by her art. I took a look at her art recently, and also that of Cicely Mary Barker, and she does the sweet little flower fairies. If you're unfamiliar with her work, I have a whole series of her stuff as well. But both of these ladies used weighted lines, and by weighted lines, if you've not watched my videos before, and if you haven't, welcome to the channel. We're happy that you're here. I hope you'll find something beneficial on here, and you'll give me a follow or a subscribe and like the video. But what these ladies would do is use weighted lines, and by that I mean lines will be thick and lines will be thin. That's why this Pilot Falcon helps me so much, because it has a flexible nib, and I am certainly not an expert at fountain pens. My husband is the expert at fountain pens, and he's the one that purchased this for me because he knows that I like to do thick and thin lines, and having that flexible nib allows me to do that. And I'll have to say, I was very nervous the first time I used this pen because I was afraid I would break the nib. And he's like, well, you do have to be careful because you can break it. So no pressure on me there, but I haven't broken the nib. I did accidentally drop the pen and landed on the nib, but thankfully it just kind of dislodged it a little bit, and I slid it back in and it was fine, because you can change the nibs on these pens. So that's all that happened. It made it just a little loose. So as you can see, I'm doing the thick and thin lines. And another thing that I'm doing on here is I'm not closing in the lines. I'm leaving some gaps here and there, and you'll be able to tell that not all of my lines are closed up. That is another hallmark of Beatrix Potter and artists like her, like Cicely Mary Barker, who would ink their pieces in beforehand. You don't close up the lines, and that allows the viewer to kind of move through your piece and not be just completely blocked in one area. Plus, by doing that, if you want to create depth in your piece, the lines that are going away from you, the pieces that are going away from you, you could use broken lines or even stop your line and finish the rest of whatever you're painting just with paint and not even have it inked in. And that will allow you to have a little more depth in your piece. Now, we're not going to do that in this one because I didn't do any of the greenery in the background. I decided just to focus in on this. I just wanted to do it as Beatrix Potter did on some of her pieces where they were studies and she wasn't doing like an entire garden. She was simply doing a study of a flower or an animal, and it would just be that subject with the white background. So that's what we're doing here. So I'm going to be quiet for just a minute, give you a break from me talking, and I'm going to let you have a bit of a musical interlude, and then I'll hop back on in just a second and we'll talk some more. Just a few more pin lines here and then we will be finished. I did want you to know that I am using a piece of paper under my hand because I'm very bad about resting my hand on my pieces. I don't want to smear that graphite, and which it can erase, but I just hate to smear it, and I really don't want to smear the ink because I am turning my piece like right there, and some of that ink can still be wet. So always remember to pick up your paper and set it down so it'll act as kind of a blot, and then pick it up again when you move it. That way you're not going to be smearing your ink if you have to turn your piece around. And you'll also see at the bottom of that flower, as it's going down into the green part, there are some of those broken lines that we talked about. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm always happy when you guys are here. If you have any comments or questions, please put those down below. And as I said, we're going to be using the Caran Neocolor 2 on this. So part 2, this is a Friday for part 1. If you're watching this, that is coming out. Part 2 will be on Saturday, and part 3 will be on Sunday. I hope you'll join me for those and all of the other fun things I have coming up. But until then, my friends, I will see you in the next one.